So I'm only on the route to starting a Most Dangerous Time. I mostly got it set up. I haven't made it completely through my second reading of the rules. The rules are really, really bad. Um, Not only are they this annoying, glossy, and not well indexed sort of thing, but they're just plain hard to wade through in terms of getting information out of them. It's not clear what the pieces are, etc. You know, I'm used to that right up front. Here's what stuff is. Now we kind of get that, but it's in this horribly pictorial representation. And there's some words, but they don't really explain what does what. So on my second reading, and I'm just getting through the betrayal rules now, I'm still not entirely sure what determines what exactly happens when a betrayal happens in terms of counters, etc. There's these special counters with a stain of dishonor, but you may not have the right one there, so you use something else, and it's all not very pleasant. It could definitely be written a lot clearer. I think I know what's going on there. On the other hand, with setup, I ran into the big problem, which is, one, I seem to be, according to them, missing a counter. I think I'm one counter short on the Asakura clan, according to what they say. I only had 9 combat counters, they're saying 10 here. On the other hand, there's a pile of Tokugawa counters and these Matsunaga counters that don't seem to have any purpose in the game. Now I'm going to look maybe in one of the multiplayer scenarios that don't really work according to the designer. Maybe in one of those they're useful, in which case that's cool, I could just put them aside. But what definitely is not cool is the setup count for the Oda clan. If you just add the numbers in their rule book, it's clear that you don't have enough pieces to do what they tell you to do, and they don't say make any choices or anything like that. So my feeling is that probably I'm not actually missing a counter. It probably just is part of this setup mess. They failed to get their setup right, and that's a great sign that you've got problems with the rules. If they can't even get the setup conducted right, you know that people were not paying enough attention to getting a good rule set. This is the kind of person who's writing and developing the game who just doesn't have enough of an eye for detail, and they need to get new people working on it. Or they need to get blind testers who can call it and say, hey, this is bullshit, man. You know, I don't know if we have people like that these days in the hobby, because all of our playtesters are kind of people who aren't really being paid. They're told, hey, you want the game? Play test it, and maybe we'll take some suggestions. Yeah. We need something like quality control in these. Anyway, people who can say, yo, this is a problem, send this up to the highest level and get somebody to sign off that, yeah. Because at the very least, whoever did review these rules did such a crappy job that they should not be on the payroll anymore. Okay. Yeah, so that's where I am right now. I'll go through another gripe that I have. You know, the rule book is missing almost any historical background. What do? They print these little cards, and about half the cards are purely historical biographies. Now, I would guess, although I don't know when you start printing glossy paper with little maps in the background to make it unreadable, I would guess that it would be cheaper, and it would certainly be a lot easier to deal with reading-wise, enjoyment-wise, to have not these stupid little collectible cards or whatever, but just biographies and historical information in a nice rule book, preferably made of paper, without any maps on the back and without too many colors in it. And there's also these little player A cards. And this I'm not so sure about the cost, because printing cards, maybe you get special deals if you put lots of useless cards in your deck. There's always extra cards in a poker deck. I mean, other than just the jokers, they've gone to like 4 jokers and some stupid stuff and everything. So maybe cards are really, really cheap and that's why they did it. But they don't look really cheap, and maybe they should have printed all the rolls on cards. If that's the case. Okay. Problem with these cards, I'm not sure yet, but they look like they're going to be a pain in the butt when you're trying to play, in terms of keeping track of all these different pieces. Nice, good player aid cards are clearly not something that you're holding in your hand or using or whatever. So the advantage of these suckers is maybe you can toss them into your deck, into your hand, and kind of obfuscate how many cards you have in your deck. That'd be kind of cool. They don't suggest that. I'll get to the game itself after I get it set up, but yeah, I'm pretty disappointed so far. I've made 2 shots at the rules. This is my second, and in neither case did I feel very comfortable with the fact that I just didn't feel like I was learning the rules from it. I like to open something up, and maybe it's the it's not that informal, but whenever rules look like this, I know that I'm in trouble. I know that I'm not going to get much out of them. And usually it means you have to hunt through and find examples of play or something to see what they actually meant by their rules. Put the effort into the rules the first time. Forget all the glossies. Forget the graphics. Forget the pretty stuff. There's also some countermix issues. We got these besieged and unsupplied counters. Well, besieged and unsupplied counters could kind of be printed on the reverse. I can understand if they didn't do that. But there's like 3 or 4 of them where they did, and most of them they didn't. And it just, again, I'm walking away with it. At this point, I have a very negative opinion. We'll see where we go.